So joining me right now in studio, I have two wonderful people, and we're just going to be finding out about the work that they're doing. So joining me, I have here, Ma'am, tafadhali introduce yourself.
Jane Francis Angalia.
Jane Francis, and?
Yes.
Nicholas Lusala.
And Nicholas Lusala from the Langata Hospital.
Practicing clinician, Langata Hospital.
Okay, thank you so much for joining us this morning. So October is Cancer Awareness Month.
Yes.
And like I said earlier, Wakenya wengi kule nje, most of them really don't, prioritize. When they hear all this communication around go get checked, watu wengi upuuza until unfortunately now when they are forced to actually go seek medical help. So in the context of now, let me start with you because you work within the health fraternity.
Yes.
Would you say that you feel now more than ever cancer is something that is really taking root and is becoming a serious health concern?
Yes, of course. Apparently, we have cancer being on the rise. Most people are fearing to go and get checked. We have underdiagnosis. Actually, most people are not going out there to allow themselves to be screened. Lack of information is also a contributing factor, and it's on the rise. So it's very vital that everybody, regardless of the age, should go get checked, should go get tested, so that we can know as soon as possible, as early as possible, because the earlier, the better the treatment modality will be, and then recovery is also greater.
Okay, Jane, I know that you're a cancer survivor.
Thank you.
Maybe if you could just share with us your story.
Yes. I was diagnosed in 2014 at a very advanced stage. It's triple negative, and then it is triple negative.
This is
which
breast
is
cancer?
Yes, it's very rare. I think less than 10% of women have it, because breast cancer is in various types. It's not just one. So there's triple negative, there's HER2 positive, OR positive, and so forth. So mine is a rare one, and at stage 3B, that was very, very dangerous.
And when you say you were diagnosed, before that moment, had you ever been in for a checkup?
Never.
So what took you to hospital?
I used to go for general wellness.
Okay.
But not specifically to check cancer.
So you had never really had a breast examination?
I don't really remember. Let me be honest. What I used to check is fibroids.
Okay.
We always have issues. We women.
As women, yes.
Yes, menses and what have you.
Yes.
So that was always a problem for me. So every year I would make sure I have an ultrasound to check fibroids. Not even cervical cancer, ovarian cancer, breast. No. In fact, I had 2 surgeries, 0609, for fibroids, but never ever thought it could be cancer or I should be checked breast. But then I started scratching 2 years earlier on my left breast under the armpit. And it's actually one of the symptoms one should look for. If you are scratching, or if you have your nipple has some water or blood or strange things, or if your breast is just normal, an orange that is stayed is not smooth enough, like it has stayed. So when you notice that your breast is not normal, then you need to really, or it's grown bigger than the other one, it's a time to go to check.
So you had all these symptoms, and that's now what prompted you finally to go seek medical attention.
The scratching, yes, because it continued, it persisted.
And it was uncomfortable scratching.
Very, yes, very. In fact, such that I even had to change my roll-ons, I had to change my dressing. I
couldn't wear the bra at some point.
Yes, yes. Later on I realized I'd moved from 38 to 42 without knowing, imagine. Without really seeing.
That's a huge difference.
Yes,
it takes a woman.
By the way, it was only one breast.
Many breasts to replace.
When I was checked, it was only one breast that had grown. But I used to think, because I'm expanding also, so obviously I thought it's just something automatic. So it's good to look out for these symptoms. And when I was diagnosed at stage 3B, it was a bit scary because cancer is 1 to 4. So, and my doctor was very clear. It was a Tuesday. You are in stage 3B, you have a very rare cancer, and if it multiplies 90%, which means it can easily move through the body, so we can't even do surgery. We have to start immediately with very tough chemo. And being a Tuesday, I was told to have the money on Friday and to be ready on Friday. Can you imagine?
For the surgery?
Yes, and
So you just find out this huge news.
Yes.
And instantly you're told, Friday kuja. Na ukuja na pesa.
Na unahesabiwa. 1 million, 1.5, 3 million.
So how do you handle that?
So I went to have like 3 hospitals looking which would be the cheapest.
Cheapest, of course.
And of course there is none. For cancer, there is none.
You know-
Unless you check yourself in a government hospital and be ready to wait, even maybe like I don't want to mention the name. I was told I have to wait. It was June, so I was to wait for 3 months to have the surgery, and then I was to wait for I don't know how many months to have chemos, and I think 2 years that time to have radiotherapy.
Which is very unfortunate.
Can you imagine?
Because you
And
can
that's-
imagine
yes.
you've just gotten this shocking
Yes,
news.
yes.
You're thinking, I might not have the money, but at the
Yes.
same time, you don't even have time to process.
Yes.
Now you become a logistician.
I'm telling
Then
you.
hospital to hospital, you're
yes.
doing fundraising.
Yes, all those things. I
And-
thank God my mother was there, and she did everything. My family, my friends, she contacted almost everybody within good time. And my doctor said, if we don't start on Friday, and this is Tuesday, your cancer will reach stage 4 in a week or 2, and even we will not be able to help you.
So I believe you were finally able to raise the funds and get the
I
treatment.
started with my last salary. I was a lecturer at Jomo Kenyatta University. I had 100,000 in my account. So my July salary, and that's the last salary I've ever seen, was my 90,000 chemotherapy and consultation and so forth. The rest, God came in through my friends, church, and let me just say, Kenyans are good people. You just need to approach them, and we have the Harambee spirit, and I'm glad we are able to help each other, and I'm alive today because of Kenyans, and thank you those who came in for me.
So how long has it been since then?
6 years.
It's been 6 years.
Yes.
Since now you were diagnosed and got the treatment.
And treatment and several, like 6 trips to India, because as I told you, it was a rare one. So even after finishing treatment here, I couldn't do surgery because it was advanced. So they had only done a lumpectomy and 6 cycles of chemotherapy, 30 sessions of radiotherapy. And then still when I went to India, after 2 years, they found a lump that was quite attached nearer the bone. So that means I had to go again to India because again you have to raise more money.
Because now the cancer reoccurred in a different...
No, it was nearer the bone.
Okay.
Let me say between the breast. It's called the chest. Maybe Dr.
Yeah.
Here would know better. But anyway,
Yeah,
it was
medical
in any
profession.
case, it was at maybe it recurred or maybe it resisted the treatment.
Yeah.
I don't know. But now I had to remove the whole breast
Completely.
and almost do almost all the treatment again to ensure that it is completely crushed. Otherwise, the cancer cells would have spread. If at all they did, I don't think so, and I thank God, but I still do scratch in the recent past on my right side, but mildly.
You
But
know,
I have
Jen,
to keep checking.
I really admire your spirit because you're talking about what for most people could be a very traumatic and emotional time of your life, but you're doing it all with a smile, and with so much grace.
Yes.
And there's something you said earlier. You said that you used your last salary, and that's what you used to actually kickstart your treatment.
Yeah.
And today, you've actually used your pain as a platform for your purpose. And we're going to be getting into that. But I just want to understand, when you say it was your last salary, did your illness now impact your ability to go to work?
Yes.
How did it change your life?
Yes, to a certain extent, because as I said, the type of cancer I got, it's there, cancer doesn't quite go away. What it does, it goes in remission. So what you need to do is be very careful, and also to take a 5-year leave of absence to be able to do the treatment very well and to do follow-ups. And follow-ups means you need to spend a lot of money every 3 months on MRIs. An MRI in a good hospital is 51,000. You need to do cancer markers. Each one is 5,000. So I have to do breast, maybe ovaries because of my other history. Several tests. Let's say in about 3 months, I always have to have at least minimum 100 to 200,000 for these tests. So to be able to survive that period, it has taken a toll of all my finances, leave alone the salary. I had to sell several products because, as I said, I didn't have. So whatever other resources I had to sell, even furniture in my house, literally almost everything.
So you mentioned that obviously by the grace of God,
Yes.
good Samaritans were able to support you.
Yes,
But
yes.
maybe let's talk about now on a more personal level. What was your support system like? Children, husbands, relatives?
I'm single, so my family, as I said, my mother came in for me strongly that time. I always say she was my guardian angel because she passed on 2 years later to liver and pancreatic cancer and related conditions. But as at that time, for 2 years, she was my caregiver. I made sure she went with me almost everywhere. My siblings, I'm the firstborn, so there are 2 girls behind me and 2 boys. Sometimes they would take turns to take me to the hospital, as they still do, sometimes even today. And classmates, alumni, if you have those networks, you know, they say you have...
Your network is your network.
Not only making money,
yes,
but
in
also in psych. And I'm not saying just in terms of finances, I'm saying a support system. Those people, they would come to visit me in the house when you are so down. Others who have, some have gone through it, they would encourage me, do this, do that. And then, of course, we have cancer survivor support groups. We have Faraja, we have Africa Cancer Foundation, started by Dorothy Nyong'o. She gave me a lot of material to read. I didn't even know what is chemotherapy, what is radio, and all the side effects that come and make people scared of chemo. So all these support groups that have helped me also gave me the desire to even start my own. I have Cancer Information Support Network, and with others also start Cancer Survivors Association of Kenya. Actually, we have an event on Saturday on the 24th, and we'll have cancer survivors from all over Kenya coming to meet at St. Paul's Chapel, just to thank God for this far we have reached, to honor those of us who have passed on, and then also at the same time to encourage those others. You see, not everybody is smiling, because some are in pain, some are in difficult stages, and I just want to encourage them wherever they are. Please don't give up the fight, because cancer is a fight. I always tell people, my mother told me something that made me survive. She told me, if today you saw a snake there, what would you do?
It depends on who you are. Some would run away, some would strike it.
Yeah, if you run away, which is what most people do, don't do that, because then you are denying that you have this condition and you have to fight it. That is when cancer becomes a death sentence. But when you fight it, you take the biggest stone and hit it, and hit it hard, it will go. Okay. And that's what I did. So I decided to take it head on and fight it on. And then the triple negative one, which is, as again I said, is rare and very aggressive. It's like a watchman. You're in a house and you don't have a watchman. Are you secure at night? You're always fearful, isn't it? So triple negative means that women have cancers which are maybe positive estrogen, HER2, genetic, and so forth. So they have different medicines they take for 5 years or 10 years, which now can make them stop the cancer from recurring or metastasizing, meaning going to another part of the body. As triple negative, it means they don't know the cause of the cancer.
Right.
Was it something I took? Was it chemical? They don't know. Therefore, I cannot get any of this hormonal therapy. So it is something that I really have to closely monitor, and it's not easy, but I struggle. So what I do on my other side, thank God, before even when I was lecturing, I used to have a small entrepreneurship spirit. I would buy and sell things. I had furnished apartments and so forth. So those kept me going for some time. But now with COVID, I've had to close. It was impossible because they rely on guests. So I closed those ones. So, but I've also been doing herbals, both to help myself and to help other cancer patients. Okay. So I am, in terms of good herbals, I mean, rosemary, mint, and so forth. Those things can help. So you literally had to be very entrepreneurial. And you know, Jane, your story is so inspiring. And we're going to have to take a break shortly. But when we come back, we're just going to be getting into why it's also important for men to be part of this conversation. Because a lot of the time when you talk about cancer, and specifically breast cancer, there's the assumption that the messaging is also targeting women. So when we come back from the break, we're going to be hearing from an expert why it's important for you as a man to also prioritize your health by actually going and getting checked. So, but right now it's time for a very quick break. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Full Circle. Thank you so much for choosing to stay with us. Of course, earlier on, we were just talking about cancer and trying to raise awareness this October, especially sharing on breast cancer. My guest, Jane, was actually able to share with us, you know, just her journey, having been diagnosed with cancer, the recovery process, and of course today how now she is a champion trying to raise awareness and actually help others who are living with cancer. And obviously I also have with me Nicholas in studio. So Nicholas, your role here is very important, because earlier on when we closed, I mentioned the fact that unfortunately in our society, cancer is something that
people assume, especially breast cancer, ni ugonjwa ya wanawake. So why is it important for the men especially to actually join the conversation when it comes to cancer and actually go get checkups?
It has been noted that breast cancer affects both men and women. So men are also affected, regardless of the age. So when it comes to breast cancer as a topic, it's a focus to both men and women. So also men should be outgoing, should go and get checked as early as possible, so that the assumption in the community that it cannot affect men is not actually practical. So it can also affect men. Yeah, so checking is also mandatory for all men.
Okay, and earlier on, Jane was able to tell us some symptoms. So what are some of those symptoms that men can look out for?
In the beginning stages, cancer is normally asymptomatic. So assuming that you'll just go from nowhere and just find a breast lump and say, okay, it's cancer, at that particular point it might be late actually. So it's always advised to be on the lookout. The most presenting symptom will be a breast lump or a breast swelling. So you'll be able to actually, when you palpate your breast, you might feel a breast swelling. Some of the other symptoms are changing the skin texture of the breast. You might have the mass on the breast that is very firm or hard, sometimes fixated. The nipple might also change. It might be what we call nipple inversion. It might be inverted a little bit, so it will give an abnormal shape of the nipple. Also, abnormal shape of the breast is also a symptom. Some of the late symptoms might be actually swelling in the armpit. What we call the axillary lymphadenopathy is also a sign of the cancer. So those are the basic signs of cancer in men and also in women as general.
So if, and I'm sure a lot of people watching might wonder, what causes breast cancer? Is there a definitive answer to that?
There is no one definitive answer to that. We only have what we call predisposing factors. Predisposing factors are actually issues or maybe problems that might make somebody have cancer. One of those factors is, of course, age. It's known to affect, especially in men now, with a focus in men who are, let's say, above 70 years of age. So young men are less likely, not that they cannot get it, but they are less likely.
That's why it's important to go and get you a checkup.
Yes, so you cannot say that, okay, I'm young and just become ignorant. It's just very important to be vigilant, to also do what you call self-breast examination. Another predisposing factor is also a family history of cancer. Basically, first degree relative. Let's say your sister, your father, your brother. If they had a cancer, there is a high chance that you might also have a cancer. Not that it is mandatory, not that you will, but you might.
And
So
I'm curious, like maybe in Jane's case, was there anyone in your family who had previously had cancer?
Yes, in fact, at some point they used to think mine is genetic before they actually confirmed it was triple negative. My grandfather, especially on my mother's side, the parents had cancer. And then also an uncle, and even finally even my mother succumbed to liver cirrhosis, which of course is associated with cancer, and pancreas had also gone down.
So obviously what you're saying is that if there's anyone who has that history, a similar history in their family, it's very important to be very vigilant. That unlike other people, you especially have to prioritize screening.
Yeah, definitely. If there is a family history, you have to make it as a priority. Screening will be also very important for you. We have also other factors that can make you be predisposed to cancer. One of them is also when you have an underlying breast pathology. Let's say
what does that mean? Let's break it down.
Yeah. Let's say one of your breasts maybe had a tumor or a cancer, and then you underwent treatment. It doesn't actually rule out that the other breast cannot be affected.
Which is what Jane was talking about earlier, because for you it affected your right
lymph nodes. I think when, by the way, as I said, mine was advanced, stage 3B, the lump was under, so I couldn't even feel it the way you just shower and feel.
So it affected your left breast?
Yes, it was my left breast, and then I knew through the lymph node. So it usually comes, when the tumor grows, then it starts coming out through the lymph nodes. So you also have to have the whole breast removed and also the lymph nodes, because and for some people it's just ductal. It goes in between the ducts.
Okay, so later on, Jenny's going to be taking us through, you know, what she calls her lifeline, some natural treatments that she swears by. But before that, Nicholas, I know that at your hospital you have a very wonderful initiative whereby you're actually offering people an opportunity to actually walk in and get screened. So tell us about that.
Yes, October being a Cancer Awareness Month, we are doing screening. And this screening is for basically all cancers, where we have a very able team of clinicians, nurses. Just by walking, we have the package, we do the cancer checkup, both clinical, both imaging. We do mammography, we do ultrasound, we organize to get MRI done, we are able to do cancer markers. So it's very important we advise the general public, right now being the Cancer Awareness Month, to take up the opportunity. So Langata Hospital is on Kitengela Road, just off Langata Road, opposite to Uru Gardens Primary School. We are available 24 hours. Just get in, get checked, all will be well.
So, and maybe just to break it down for the viewer and probably for someone who's never really gone for a screening, when you say that there's a free screening, so essentially this is the first part of the process whereby it's the physical exam. That is what is being offered.
Yes, yes. Apparently, not really physical exam only. Of course, all the indicated ages we advise for screening. Screening involves clinical examination, whereby you come, a medical professional actually examines you. You are examined, like a breast examination. We are able to check your breast clinically and not any abnormalities. After that, in case of any abnormalities that have been noted, we advise for screening. Now, screening now involves the mammogram, which is a type of X-ray that is done.
Okay.
We also advised for ultrasonography, which is an ultrasound that can be done to the breast, and also MRI. We also have the tumor markers that can be done just for screening, so that we can be able to know at what point if there is any disease as early as possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
And maybe, Jane, because you're someone who's actually, you're a cancer survivor and now you're a cancer warrior as well. Early on, you actually mentioned that everything on this table is your lifeline. So maybe let's start with this. Tell us about this.
Now that is called a prosthesis, and you wear it when they remove your breast. Then you have no breast, and it, you know, with a woman, stigma, you know, confidence, you know, and so you go without. So like today I came without. So I just wanted to demonstrate because it's easier for me to do through here.
Right.
But then it's a whole process because you need a special bra with a hole where you put it. But otherwise, when I put it now inside here, you see now.
It gives you the,
yes,
the balance.
Of course, when I put Nini. But without it, and you are up and down, even you feel you are not free. So this is one of the lifelines we have, and we even ask people to support. We have a paybill number because our women, there are some who can do it, but they don't have the thread that they
and this
need,
is
the wool.
This is very basic.
Very basic. Because
cotton,
most of our
Dani,
women are mamambogas,
yes,
and they can't afford. The one from abroad, Germany ones are 20,000.
The prosthetics, yes, now.
And when they are brought here, they are 20,000 or 40,000.
Right.
This woman needs that money for her children and for her treatment. So we encourage this, and it's I think 2,000 or 3,000 is enough to buy wool and make it and survive. And because some people even used to breast.
Right.
And also about men. Now it's a big challenge. Men, it's not, they doesn't grow that big.
Yes.
But they need to be checked. Actually, if you see your breast as a man, that they are growing more than now. Because I've seen even small boys with that. It's good to even start checking early. Because you see also the type of food we eat nowadays, and that will bring us to the herbs. The type of food we eat has a lot of hormones like chicken. So much has been pumped. Sometimes I think some of the cancers are from there.
Right.
Because you have a lot of things that are injected.
So it starts either in the farm, it starts either in the factory, as the food is being processed because it's going through so many stages. And and unlike before, because I kind of feel like also for us as Kenyans and as Africans, if you look at our culture and way of life 30 years ago, it's very different than what it is today.
Yeah, so we have more risk factors, especially from our lifestyle, and that's why it's really good to check on what you are putting on your table for your children, even for yourself, especially even pregnant mothers. So for me, I've actually changed from all those hormonal chickens and too much starch, rice, and what have you, and I take mainly vegetables, and in addition to the vegetables, I make sure I add all these herbs. I may not go through all of them.
Tell me about the
Yeah,
herbs.
yes.
For instance,
Yes.
which one is this?
Like that one is called Chia Seeds.
I've heard
and
about the chia seeds.
you
I
have.
see
Yes,
young
so
ladies
you-
putting it in water,
in water,
and
yes,
it has
and
its
carrying
benefits.
a bottle this side, it has its
Right.
calcium and so forth. That's the same Chia Seeds. The other one is flax seeds.
Okay.
This flaxseed is omega-3
Right.
seeds. Yeah, you know, not from meat, not from nyama choma, but from seeds. We have a lot of protein and fats and so forth from
So,
seeds. So these
basically,
are flax
what
seeds.
I'm hearing from
Yes,
you with
yeah.
herbal /
Yes.
plant-based
Yes,
diet, you can
yes.
actually get a
Yes.
lot more benefits.
Yes.
As opposed to some of those
Too much protein.
too much protein
Yes,
and
too
processed
much.
foods.
And then processed food, especially processed food.
Okay.
Now, that one is called Artemisia, and it is this one. This one.
you know,
see?
can I ask, is it growing in the cup?
Yes,
Are you
yes,
growing
yes,
this in
yes,
your house, Jane?
Yes, I have many. I actually help people to plant their herbal gardens.
Yes.
So those who would want to have all these herbs, I do because you ask me what I do nowadays.
Yeah.
That's what I do. I help people grow their herbal. So you can call me. We have a kitchen garden all on your balcony in pots.
And I love that you've mentioned that, because that means then it's more accessible and more sustainable
Yes.
for more people.
For more people, yeah.
And the great
Yes.
part also about this, and I just
Yes.
want to put this into context, especially because you said something to me as well. Like, even you,
Yeah.
Tamima, you should take this.
Yes, yes.
Because it's preventative, you know, it
Definitely.
has a lot of benefits. And for the young girls, you know, it's easy to
Yes.
say, I'm going to go out with the girls
Yeah.
and have a quick meal and pay 400 shillings. Hiyo umelipa inaitagwa kukumbili na chips.
Na chips, yeah.
Yet these things,
Buy your dawa instead.
there you go.
Buy your dawa instead,
Yeah.
and take a plate of raw salads. Raw salads, tomatoes, cucumbers, and your dish. Where even if it's 400 or 500, is more healthier
Okay.
than the chips and the cuckoos. And so for them, this is lemongrass. People have issues with taking lemon.
I love lemongrass in my
Lemongrass,
tea.
great, yeah. Because some people say lemon gives them acidity, but lemongrass is a good alternative. And of course, the other, there is sage.
And this is
There is hibiscus, yes, and that's also good.
Okay.
All this, and there is mint.
Right.
There is curry for cooking your rice or your meat. There is, of course, mint for your tea. I forgot to bring rosemary. And this is sage.
Right.
For us, when we do chemotherapy, it eats up a lot of you. You know, it kills everything in your body. You know, it's a good poison in the sense that it's killing the cancer cell. But science has not been able to separate killing good cells and bad cells. So your work is to eat very well and then also replenish the dead cells. And you know, cells are made from the blood.
Yes.
So we need to take a lot of soup. And I always tell people, I used to take bone soup at my mother's house. Now I've moved to camel soup and camel milk and goat milk.
You know, I want to hear from Nicholas, because kuna wale ambao maybe they are skeptics. And I think in the world that we live in, obviously there are a lot of advancement, especially in the medical field. But at the same time, it's funny that especially today more than ever, and even in the Western world, we are seeing people now going back to the, for lack of a better word, traditional,
Yeah,
back to the roots, whereby now you're seeing more holistic forms of treatment. So when it comes to this, what would be your advice to anyone who perhaps wants to, you know, consider this approach, whereby you're taking a more holistic / herbal approach to treatment?
There's no any dispute about that. That is, I think, is more of a herbal preparations. There's no problem, you can take it, but you don't overlook the hospital, because what is in hospital is actually, we have enough studies that have been done to support it.
So it needs to be
So,
complementary.
yes,
Usiseme
need
ati
to
sasa
be-
ni
yeah,
hii
you
tu.
don't just
Yes.
stick with and assume, okay, this one will make you fine. You need to, you can use it, but also you go to the hospital. About dieting and all that, definitely, especially in the Western world, there we have actually take high energy diet. And if you look at the breast cancer, actually all the data statistics, you find that they are more affected than we guys over here. So it's definite actually. We have some habits like having processed meals is not actually healthy for you. It might predispose you to obesity. Obesity itself is a factor that actually can also predispose you to breast cancer.
Okay.
So it's actually recommended you be more natural, of course, avoid those risky dieting habits.
Right. And as we wind up, probably you're telling me about a wonderful initiative, because you also work a lot to champion the rights of people who are living with cancer, and also just towards awareness. So tell me about the event that you have and how people can support you.
Yeah. So usually every month we meet, we have various support groups in different parts of course, the country, but let's say in Nairobi, we have different groups because you can't have everybody together. But we have more than registered 1,000 cancer survivors. We have a Cancer Survivors Association of Kenya. I'm the secretary, and we are meeting on Saturday.
So that's the Cancer Survivors Association. Are you on
Kenya.
Facebook? Do you have a Facebook
Not
page?
yet, not
you
yet,
need to
because we
open
are just
one.
we'll open
Watu
one.
watafute huko.
Ndio tutafungua. But we have a paybill number.
Okay.
514422. 514422. Where people can be able to support this event, which we have even sick patients. We have many people who need NHIF. We have been trying to lobby through CSAK and also the Cancer Information Support Network, which I founded with friends. One of them is here, and she's also from my church. The church has been very helpful throughout, especially this time of COVID-19. We've been trying to mitigate. Most of these cancer patients are mama mboga and so forth, and they can't go to look for jobs.
Absolutely.
So we've been trying to get food for them, and it has been very helpful. And what I would like to also encourage people, if you have a cancer patient, you know, in your house, part of the family members or a colleague, be there for them. It's not a matter of money. Yes, money is important to survive and to go through the treatment. But even just giving psychosocial support, encouragement, praying with them, that's what really makes somebody survive long. That's why I'm alive today.
Absolutely.
And I never stopped even going to church or going to Jumuiya, because my Jumuiya was always there for me. So I'd like to encourage people, if you have cancer patients, please contact me and bring them on Saturday to that event, because they'll be encouraged, they'll register with us, and together we shall continue lobbying NHIF for free treatment. When I started my treatment, I remember in Aga Khan, 357,000 was my lumpectomy. And I'm not saying it's expensive or not, but NHIF paid for me only 7,000. Only 7,000.
Out of 350,000.
Yeah.
Which is one of the many issues around
Yes.
health, access to healthcare
Yes,
in this
because
country.
if almost every Kenyan is paying 6,000, you know, why shouldn't cancer be free like HIV is? So one of the things we lobby for is that cancer is also made free. It actually should be declared a national disaster. Then the government pumps in more money so that more people can access. People keep quiet when they get cancer because they know it's expensive.
Okay.
So they say, I'd rather die than sell my cow than sell my plot.
So there's someone here asking very quickly, how can they get in touch with you?
0722 369 389.
Okay.
0722 369 389.
Na tumesema unafungua Facebook page, just in
Facebook
case
nitafungua.
wakisahau your
But
number.
Nico, it's only that I'm not very active,
Yes.
but now I'm going to start being active.
Okay, and so we just read a couple of your comments here. This is Eunice. You're saying you've been having pain underneath your left breast that radiates to the chest and below the armpit. It's been there for 6 years. What could that be? Oh, Eunice, 6 years? You need to go and see a doctor, ASAP. I think you've had Jane's story, very inspiring, but at the same time, when it comes to cancer especially, you're better off if you are, go for your screening early enough. If it is positive, get treated early enough. Don't wait till the last minute. Then here we have someone else saying, Joki's story is so touching. She's a real warrior. I salute her. Please, may I ask, where can I go for a checkup with my 4-year-old kid? Is it advisable? And I think you mentioned that at Langata Hospital, as we wind up.
Yeah, at Langata Hospital, we have a very welcoming team.